So that is why Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants is pure pornography.
Good God, I wish I'd went to college. Are you the real Deadpool?
Of course I am.
I don't think you are, because you're a lot shorter than the real Deadpool. No flabbier.
I'm the real Deadpool. Get out of here. What?
Oh my God, you're terrifying. You look worse than the real Deadpool.
I don't look like, an older avocado and a...
You look like the worst avocado.
Oh, welcome everybody. As promised to our Deadpool 2 spoiler discussion, we are unloading all of our thoughts on Deadpool 2, all of the spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie yet, what are you doing here? Go see the movie and then come back and watch the video for us to share our thoughts on all the spoilers. We also have a non-spoiler review on the channel. You can definitely check that out as well. But, yes. So, I guess, let's get started, sir. For our Deadpool 2 spoiler discussion.
Oh, Lord.
Topic number 1, new and interesting characters. Where do you want to start, sir?
Start with the top. I mean, one of the main guy in this film is Cable.
Cable himself, Josh Brolin. And, it was interesting because at the end of the first Deadpool...
He already suggested it.
Yes,
so.
He already suggested Cable, and he had threw around some names at that point.
Dolph Lundgren, Keira Knightley, and I'm like... I can't see Keira Knightley pulling off Cable. For one thing, she's a chick. Not to defend nobody, but
I'm like,
you need a hardcore, scary-looking dude for this. And I could have seen Dolph Lundgren as maybe like an extremely older Cable.
Yes, I actually could have, but they didn't go that. They went with, of course, Josh Brolin himself,
which was a perfect fit.
And the interesting thing about him in the comic books versus this, or even the X-Men cartoon, is that in the X-Men cartoon he goes back to the past to try to stop Apocalypse. And of course, I don't know if there was anything about his family in the X-Men cartoon or not.
Not that I remember. Then again, it's been like 20 plus years, and even though I own the cartoon series DVD, I rarely ever watch it now.
Yeah, I don't know much about that, but I mean, I thought it was interesting with him and his family, and he goes back in this one to basically stop Fire Fist.
That's still such a horrible name to have.
What a great name.
Does it burn when you use it?
Does it burn?
Skin irritation.
So he goes back to try to stop him when he's a kid.
Yeah.
And basically that whole thing happens from there. I thought actually the Cable was represented really well in this movie.
Well, like I said before, when we first saw it after we got done seeing this movie, it's like he had to incredibly get jacked for this movie because Cable was a very physical guy.
Oh man, whether it's like him showing his metal arm, which I thought was really cool,
the
Terminator-like, or what he has, the cybernetic eye.
And you get to see some of his abilities. I mean, I don't know which ones are mutant or they could be just technological. You see him pull his futuristic gun toward himself. And,
like that.
And he's got like a shield that he can protect himself with.
Stuff. I mean, that's really cool stuff, actually. And I really liked a lot of his stuff in the movie. I thought his character was really, really interesting.
Mm. He's not doing it because he wants... I mean, he kind of hates the guy that's responsible, not the young kid now, but he realizes if he stops him now, he stops all the future damage this kid does.
Yes, and so it's that whole thing of like, if you could go back in the past to stop Hitler, would you do it knowing that it would save, tons of people?
That's the question about time travel. It's like, responsibility. And the thing is, even if he did change that one thing, who knows? They could just spawn out something that would completely, like another villain that comes up and does the same thing to him.
Well, that's true. And you have a lot of other characters as well in this. You have,
You got the X-Force.
You got the X-Force here. I made sure to make sure I got the cast listing so I knew. You've got Domino.
Who is extremely lucky.
Domino, her luck is ridiculous, man. Her
Final
luck
Destination, like a little, like if you set off a marble, she could survive a car wreck without even getting a scratch on her.
Yes, it was really awesome. I loved her stuff in it.
She can fight too, that's for sure.
She can fight, but also she seems like really cool, like sarcastic, matching wits with Deadpool, which I thought was really cool. I thought she was really great.
In the comics, I'm not 100% sure. I think I don't know if her and Deadpool hook up, or he's with
What?
With his girlfriend in this one. I think she is a mutant in the comic. I'm not 100% sure.
Well, I mean, I think there's a possible maybe hookup that could happen in the future, but I did like her character. It was a nice introduction. I think the actress did really well in that role. You also have here, of course, I'm trying to look here. You got Yukio. Yukio!
And if you remember in the Wolverine, I looked on the website that they have for the movie, talking about cast and storyline and all that stuff.
Yeah.
This is a revised timeline version of Yukio. Instead of her having the power of seeing death, in this one she has like a electrokinesis type thing, where she can shoot electrical change.
Oh, okay. That's actually really cool. And of course, we learned that she's also a lesbian, which is actually really cool too.
Hey, good for them.
Good for them.
I mean, when we find out who she's with, I was like, hey, I mean, you kind of figured they were going that way, not to knock the actress or the character. It's like kind of leaning toward that.
Yeah, it's kind of leaning towards that a bit, but I really did enjoy that character a lot.
I'm kind of glad they showed a couple like that in movies. I mean, how often do you get to see stuff like that?
I did too. You also get here, let me see here, you get Shatterstar.
Which is connected to the Mojo homeworld, if you know the comics and the cartoon series.
That is very cool. You get Shatterstar here, you get Zeitgeist.
I really don't know who that is in the comics.
He's like, with
trust me, his acid spit is very, very quick.
Very quick. It's cool. Like things like that character. You also get Terry Crews as Bedlam.
I'm surprised he wasn't just dancing the whole time, because that's usually what I see.
He's actually really cool in the role. Again, short-lived. You also get the Vanisher.
Which we won't spoil who the cameo actor who's playing that is, because you'll laugh your ass off.
You'll laugh your ass off. I thought all the X-Force was actually pretty cool of a team. You're forgetting one. The non-mutant one. Oh, I'm sorry. Peter.
Which has no fighting skills or nothing that can just reply to an ad.
But he's got a really sweet stash. Which doesn't really help him at all.
The porn
stash. But I thought the X-Force was actually really cool, and again...
Extremely short-lived.
It's extremely short-lived in the movie. Boy, they really die really gruesome deaths. But,
I think Domino was pulling all their luck into her, and that's how she survives.
But, this is all setting up for an eventual X-Force movie anyways, and I'm glad they introduced those characters. It was interesting. I think they worked in the movie. The small part that they had, they didn't need a big role, but I think the small little moments that they had, I thought was worth it.
Yeah.
And it was a nice introduction for them.
I mean, the only other character I could say, I mean, it's not, because we're doing spoilers, I'd have to say one character, I think they did it the right way this time compared to what they did in X3, was the Juggernaut.
The Juggernaut, bitch.
I mean, if you watch the comic series or the cartoon series, this is how he's supposed to be. Not the Vinnie Jones version.
I liked, hey man, I like the Vinnie Jones version, but I get it, I understand it. It's, people didn't like that shit. Yeah. So you know what? For me, I like that they really went back to the idea of him being a
Massive.
massive, and of course going with the idea of him being
Stepbrother
the
of
stepbrother
Xavier.
of Xavier, and
Yeah, because they never hinted toward that connection in X3.
no, they never did. So I did like they went back to the comic book roots with these characters.
Mm.
Again, I think that works. I think these characters setting up this world works for future films. So yeah, we're ready to head into topic number 2.
Sure.
Topic number 2. Topic number 2. Death and time travel. So, what do you think about all that stuff?
Well, I mean, let's start with the first death. We get his girl Vanessa gets taken out.
Yes. Now, here's the problem that I have. I don't know whether you have this problem or not, but do you feel like because in the end credits, he ends up saving her? So, do you think like everything that happens in the movie early on with her death and everything that it doesn't it's now doesn't mean anything essentially, or?
See, I mean, you can relate this to the whole X-Men Wolverine thing. I mean, they changed the timeline like at least a couple times on that point.
Yeah, that is true. I mean,
I think the same events kind of went down. It just different versions of how it changed.
sure. I mean, for me, it kind of nullifies it to a certain degree because I feel like at the end of the movie for Deadpool, he sort of learns to love and trust through this new group that he's considering his family now. And he'll always love Vanessa, but he's sort of learned to open up a little bit more.
Yeah.
With him saving Vanessa now, I mean, yes, it's nice to have her back for an upcoming film, but do you lose that life lesson that he had?
See, that's the problem with time travel. If he changed that one event, would he even remember everything that happened? I mean,
it is tough. I mean,
time travel's tricky, not just in movies and TV shows. Too.
Yeah, time travel is incredibly tricky. So by all means, I mean, it's not like this has to be perfect or anything, but that's just was my thought on that. But you also have, I mean,
there's two versions. You could have the cut and dry where he remembers everything that happened previously.
yes.
And it's just, this one event just got changed now, nothing else has changed beyond it.
Well, that's true.
Or you get the messy butterfly effect type of change.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I mean that death, I think it was effective in the film, but the end credits kind of nullified it a little bit for me. But it's still part of the movie. It still works.
Well, I mean, you can for the next ones you could say is the whole almost other than Domino and Deadpool, the whole X-Force team pretty much gets taken out. So
yeah, so basically, as we were saying in the topic number 1, they do have death. They all die.
like 5 minutes after their intro.
Oh man, whether they're getting electrocuted or
Torn
they're
up by a chopper.
torn up by a wood chipper or
Helicopter blades.
One gets sort of
Peter gets that.
Peter gets
the acid breath all over his shoulder.
The acid puke all over him, and he ends up
Trust me, compared to the movie The Fly, where you can see it dissolve, this one's a lot more gruesome.
Yes, but those deaths again in the end credit scenes, he saves them and they come back again. If they're going to make an X-Force movie, then of course they kind of have to bring them back.
Yeah,
but
it wouldn't be an X-Force movie without them now.
Well, that's true. I mean, did you like sort of, I guess, all of the deaths for those characters, or where did you think those were weak?
You couldn't get. The only one I could say you get invested in is Domino and a little bit of the Peter character. But other than that, you don't get hugely invested in anybody else in that.
I will say this: if we do get an X-Force movie, give me more of the Vanisher, because I I want more of that motherfucker.
And
I
you'd
do.
love to find out who's playing him.
Yes, the cameo is great again. Even though this is spoiler discussions again, we won't spoil that one. That's too good. I mean, you have that. You have, of course, the idea of the time travel with the kid himself, who we learn, of course, once he makes his first kill, he goes dark side. And do you think, like, because it's kind of interesting because with time travel, the idea that in Cable's future. Are the X-Men all dead? Are they all gone?
I mean, you've seen Back to the Future, you've seen Terminator. A lot of people think, "Oh, this is fate. This is destined. What's gonna happen?"
Yes.
I mean, that's the problem with time travel movies. Like, just because you change one event doesn't mean you're gonna end up down that same road down the line.
No, that is true. And again, whether the X-Men are fully dead in his future, we don't really know.
Well, I mean, look at different versions. You got the original X-Men where they're all alive at the end, except for a couple members are dead now.
Yes.
Then you get the Wolverine. Oh, they're all alive now, and they didn't die. And then you get Logan, where it's like, oh, they're all dead now.
Dead. So I guess it does. I mean, every different version. I mean, but I will say this much: talk about a really cool cameo.
I think me, you, and the guys were just like, it's like, holy crap! They actually showed more than 3 X-Men.
Yes, which is really cool because he's sort of in the mansion and he's sort of saying, well, geez, there's only like 2 or 3, and then there's around the corner, there's like all of them like kind of like looking at him or something. Yeah,
you get the whole X-Men cast. I was like, oh, if it's this timeline, aren't they supposed to be a lot older now?
Yes,
You got the younger generation here.
I know it's kind of cool. It's cool that they did that. They didn't have to. It was kind of awesome that they did. And I mean, as you said, time travel is really tough to do in a movie.
Depends on what kind of ending you want for the movie.
But let me ask you this, because I mean, at the end of the movie, they fix the little
time drive or time watch or whatever the heck
that basically Cable had, and
I was surprised they were able to repair it considering it's future technology.
True, and also I will say this because basically Cable uses up his 2 times that he could
3, 1 to get there and like 2 extra ones.
Yes, and he uses them in order to save Deadpool himself. And because he now does no longer have any chance to get back to his time, he decides to stay in the present and maybe make the future a better place. And
I mean, his future didn't look good from the start.
Well, no, it looked bad. But
I mean, God.
But with Deadpool now having that little time travel thing, do you think that they
Oh God, he
can use that more in the next film? You think, or
see, that's the problem. Is like something that powerful, it should have a limited use.
Yeah, I don't think they should. I don't think it should be like one of those like things in the movie where like, oh, we screwed up, so we can just keep going back and doing the time travel.
Do it over again.
Yeah, I don't want them to do that.
This isn't Doctor Who. You can't keep changing fate.
No, and look, I mean, you can't. Again, it's sort of like, if you keep doing that, for this movie it was fine, but to keep doing that I think is a cheap trick there. Mm-hmm. I will say this, talk about a scene that wasn't even in the movie. There was another end credit scene that happened, and we'll talk more about the end credit scenes, but there's another one that happened that never got put into the film. Basically, Deadpool is doing all the time travel stuff, and what happens is that he thinks to himself, well, God, the ultimate question of time travel is if you could go back and kill Hitler when he was a baby, would you do it? And Deadpool actually went to the past and found Hitler when he was a baby, and basically it's kind of, well, it's from what I hear, it's kind of graphic, is that he puts the gun.
I mean, just look at the multiple controversies about that. You're talking about Hitler killing a child.
Yeah, And basically, I believe they had tested it with audiences, and a lot of people had a lot of fun with the movie. But then when that scene at the end credits happened,
They're just kind of off.
they just basically were like, "This is not good." And
No.
honestly, I can't blame them. It's a little too much. I think the movie's fun. You don't really want to get into really serious territory like that. So maybe we'll see it on the Blu-ray or DVD. But I mean, that was an interesting one that didn't get in there. But other ones that did was X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh God, Wade, is that you? And he kills his alternate self. So.
Yes, which is really cool. And apparently Fox just ended up letting them have that one.
They needed to have fun with the time travel.
They needed to. It was kind of a cool little thing for the time travel.
Don't forget, he killed somebody else.
Yes, he killed somebody else.
A certain script called Green Lantern.
Green Lantern. Ryan Reynolds is holding the Green Lantern script.
He's like, I'm gonna make it with this movie. Bullet to the head.
Yeah, I mean, he just goes. I like those end credit scenes, and I think those end credit scenes are really smart. I think they're really funny. They end the movie on a really great high note. And again, I don't want to see more time travel in the next film. I'm fine with it here. I'm fine with.
I mean, they could do like a little what about the time traveling device? I'm like, oh, it's broken now. I overused it, or something.
I overused it.
Or it's out of juice.
Is out of juice or something, or Dopinder went somewhere to,
Then he got lost and didn't know how to fix the device.
Fix the device or something, something like that. But honestly, it is the time travel is a good sort of.
It's an aspect for this movie.
For this movie.
You can't do it for another movie.
You can't do it, but I will say this much: I think the deaths in this film, they needed. A lot of them are not final, and I think when you look at something like Avengers Infinity War, because Avengers Infinity War...
Half the universe got taken out, what are you talking about?
Well, yeah, but I mean, those major deaths, whether it's the Lokis or the Heimdalls or stuff like that, those are ones that are... I think fans would have been pissed if, they do a time travel thing and they say, okay... By the way, they're back now. Those deaths are meaningless.
I hate when they do that type of shit. It's like, what's the point of making that character die if it's not going to be a permanent thing? I can understand the Avengers and the Guardians coming back or something, or at least some of them come back.
But yet you're okay with what happens in this film, though.
Yeah, because they went from primary characters to secondary characters.
Okay, so you're okay with secondary characters really going and coming back.
It depends on who they're connected to.
Okay.
Like, say if it was something like Pepper or Happy Hogan, they got taken out, I'm like, that would really mess with the whole Iron Man series because they're really a tight group now.
Okay, but you're okay with sort of Vanessa dying and then coming back, or the X-Force dying and coming back.
Yeah, because they need to set that up for potential future movies.
Okay, I get it. For me,
it depends on the character.
It depends on the character, but I honestly think the time travel overall was done pretty well in the movie, regardless. Some hiccups, but again, I think you could tear apart all of these time travel movies. It doesn't matter which one. If you really were to poke holes in it, it would really fall apart. But are you ready for the third and final topic, sir?
Sure.
Topic number 3. Topic number 3. Where does the Deadpool franchise go from here?
Well, I mean, this compared to the first one, this one was a decent sequel. It wasn't a great sequel compared to the first one, but
no, it wasn't. And I think that, to me, look, I mean, the first one was sort of this big cultural event.
It was iconic.
It was iconic. You can't do that a second time around. I thought it was good, but I've heard talks from Ryan Reynolds where he's like, he doesn't think there's going to be a Deadpool 3.
I mean, what else can you really do for Deadpool? I mean, you already got the majority of it done in the first movie.
Well, the thing about it is that I know they want to do the X-Force film, and I know Deadpool's going to be a part of that, and so is Cable.
Yeah.
There's been talk of maybe doing a Cable film. itself. I could see it.
I could see like if they were do by like the cartoon series back in the 90s, they could also do a Cable Bishop thing.
I could see that too. But as far as the Deadpool thing, look, I mean, this movie made a crap ton of money. So I mean, is it still profitable for everybody? Yes, it is still profitable. It's
Problem
still
is finding
successful.
a good story for a sequel.
Exactly, finding a good story, finding something that maybe could end this maybe trilogy in a great way. I will say this much, that there is a possibility that when we talked about it in the Infinity War discussion, that there's a possibility of Disney owning a lot of the Fox properties, and that includes Deadpool.
The problem is they definitely watered that one down a lot.
Because we talked about it, that we were okay with a Fantastic Four or X-Men coming to this universe of the big Marvel Studio thing, but for Deadpool's R-rated. To try to fit him into stuff, I mean, it gets...
That or into like a PG-13 thing, I don't think it'd work.
I don't think it would work. I mean, they could try to make it work, but I think it would be incredibly difficult.
They'd have to like literally push the limits of PG-13 to get it.
Yes, and for something that's Disney and Marvel, I just don't think that they would be able to accomplish that and get that done. Again, they could surprise me. I could be pleasantly surprised if I walk in and see, Deadpool saying the F word to Tony Stark, constantly. I mean, or to Rocket
That's
Raccoon.
a whole other problem, is if they try to... I don't know how they would connect it, because you never hear from either thing for Marvel. It's like, there are mutants in the world. How come we never heard it through the X-Men or through the Iron Man series or any of the others?
Or stuff like that. I mean, again, I would be okay with a Deadpool 3, but again, it's got to have a good story. It's got to... It's got to still maintain its R-rated quality. If it doesn't, then I don't think I would be interested in checking it out.
That and, like, I think certain characters deserved a little bit more screen time than they got in this one.
Like, if you
like
were to
Blind
say...
Al.
Oh, Blind Al. You know what? That really... Thank you, because Blind Al got, I thought, shortchanged.
Yeah, even his buddy Weasel.
Weasel got shortchanged big time.
I thought Vanessa could have been a little bit other than her death in the movie. I mean... She was in it maybe 10 minutes at the most.
I'd say maybe 5, and that's
Well,
being...
don't forget the dream.
Oh, the dream stuff, yeah, the dream stuff as well. But
even Colossus and Negasonic didn't get as much screen time as I thought.
I thought Negasonic was going to get more, and she didn't, except for her sort of lesbian relationship with Yukio.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I could see a standalone movie with that.
Oh, Lord.
I could.
Was it X-Girls in Heat? Like an after night Cinemax thing you'd probably be watching?
I will not admit to stuff like that.
Yeah,
I will not admit to it.
Certain persons are in the room.
Yeah, I will not admit to it. But yes, I'm okay with just having 2 Deadpool films if we end up just coming down to
I mean, if they were going to do anything for Deadpool 3, how about having him have a little Deadpool Jr.?
A little Deadpool Jr. That would be interesting. Or again, maybe they could pull sort of an Old Man Logan, sort of like an Old Man Deadpool type of thing.
You know how long it would take him to get old? I mean, like, it took Logan almost 300 years to get to his age, and his healing ability is... I think in some ways, Deadpool's healing ability in the movies is kind of superior to his.
Yes, and I will say it's actually, I want to just say this real quick because we didn't say it. I actually really like them showing in the movie his healing ability and then him, like, not the healing ability, like, going away. Yeah. I actually like that a lot. Well, I thought that was cool.
How many people come away from getting literally torn limb from limb? Getting torn in half.
And torn limb from limb, and then the whole, like...
Baby balls.
The whole, like, baby ball there.
When that scene came out, everybody was laughing their asses off.
Let me just say this. I will never look at baby legs the same way ever again. I will never do it. No way. But like I said, it's a fun film, and
It's good. I mean, it doesn't really topple the first one, but it gets decently close.
It gets decently close, and again, even Ryan Reynolds saying, look, the priority is the X-Force movie. The priority is expanding Cable. I don't know if the priority is a Deadpool 3, but maybe it is. I mean, I will say this much. A lot of people complained about Iron Man 2 that it was sort of stuffed with too many characters, and it felt like
It didn't have the same flair as the first one.
it didn't feel like Iron Man. It felt like almost an Avengers movie. That they were setting up too much. You almost could say the same for this movie.
Oh,
It was setting
you
way
can
too
say that
much.
about a ton of sequels nowadays. Like, oh, compared to the first one, it's not as good as that.
Yeah, I just felt like maybe they stuffed too many characters in, and they just went, way too heavy with it. I think if they pulled back a little bit more and continued to focus on Deadpool himself, I think that.
I mean, you do get to see an interesting thing in this movie. It's just like you always wondered, these X-Men always defeat mutants. I'm like, where do these mutants go? You get to see that in this movie.
Yeah, we do get to see the whole prison for them going to sort of, where they have the collars on, and the collars nullify their powers. And, all that is really fascinating and really interesting. And, I mean, again, there's a lot of places to go and explore and things that they showed in this movie that could come back for future films. But, I would be okay with it. I just think they have to be cautious, is all.
That and creative.
That and creative, and that is the big, big thing about it. But that will do it for the topics. Let's finish the video, shall we? Alright, everybody, that'll do it for the Deadpool 2 spoiler discussion. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up. And, yes, I guess, we'll be back next time for another spoiler discussion, whenever that may be, sir.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, you've been a pain in my ass long enough.
Go ahead and try it, I dare you.
Oh!
If you get in that shoved somewhere, you ain't gonna like it. Scarier looking Deadpool.
Oh, all right, everybody. Again, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed Deadpool 2. Definitely let us know what you think of the movie and what you think of the spoilers. Again, we'll be back next time with me and the Joker here.
If I was the Joker, you'd be dead already.
Take care, guys.
Oh.